What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a few examples with you just to show you how do we apply these steps. So let's apply these steps together. Let's have a go. Okay, so we have 3 questions here. Let's go through the first one, A. So I'm going to draw triangle A over here. So I've got a triangle. I've got 38 degrees here. I've got my right angle. I've got 7 and I've got X. Okay, let's use those steps. First step, label the sides. So let's label all 3 of the sides. First side that we label is a hypotenuse. I didn't do that up above, but that's okay. I make mistakes sometimes as well. Let's start from the hypotenuse. So which one is the hypotenuse? It's always the side that is opposite the right angle. So the side that's opposite the right angle. So if I go to my right angle, I go opposite. This 7 over here is my hypotenuse. So I'm going to circle the 7 and put a H there just to tell me that that is the hypotenuse. Okay. The next side is the opposite side. Now I look at the angle. Now the angle that I'm looking at is this one over here. This 38 degrees is my angle. So I go opposite the angle. And so this X over here, that is my opposite side. So I'm going to put a circle around my X and just call it my opposite side. Now the last side is my adjacent side. Now because I don't have one, you don't need to do this step if you don't want to, but I'm just going to do it just for the sake of making sure that I have every side. So I've got my adjacent side here. Okay. Now that I've labeled the sides, the second part of this first step is to figure out what trig ratio I'm going to use. Now this is where you need to refer back to your acronym, or if you remember it, that's cool. You can just refer back to your memory. SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. So here, I'm going to have a look. Okay, what 2 sides do I have? I have the sides that I'm given are actually my opposite side, X, and my hypotenuse, 7. Unfortunately, I don't have any value for the adjacent side, so I don't have any important information that I can do with that adjacent. So here, it's going to be O and H. Which trig ratio uses O and H? Well, my sine does. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be using sine. So I've identified my trig ratio. I'm going to be using sine for this one. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to write the equation involving my trig ratio. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go, okay, I'm using sine. Now usually in the past when we were doing these questions, we would write sine theta. But instead of theta, I actually know the angle. What's the size of the angle for this question? Well, the angle has a size of 38 degrees. So I'm going to write sine 38 degrees is equal to, well, if I look at my trig ratio, so S sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So O comes first, so that's the one at the top. So I'm going to write my equation here. So here it's going to be my opposite side, which is X, over H, which is 7. So I'm going to be trying to find that missing length for X. Okay, that's the second step. So I wrote the equation. The third step is I want to rearrange my equation for my missing side. So what I want to do is I want to have the equation where I have X is equal to something. Now, if I want to have X by itself, what I need to do is get rid of this 7 at the bottom. So what do I do to get rid of a 7 at the bottom? X over 7 is just the same as X divided by 7. So if I want to get rid of a division, I need to multiply. So both sides I need to multiply by 7. So here I'm going to have X is equal to 7 times sine 38. You can also write this the other way around. You can totally write this as, let me rewrite this. You can write this as sine 38 degrees times 7. The reason why I wrote it the other way is I don't want to actually confuse this. I don't want to have it as sine 38 times 7. I actually want it as sine 38 times 7. So that's why usually mathematicians write it as 7 times sine 38 degrees. Okay, now that I've done that, I can put this in my calculator. So last step that I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my calculator. So I'm going to solve by putting it in my calculator. So here we go. 7 times sine 38, close my bracket. I get 4.3096. I want it to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to go, this is going to become 4.31. So for this first example, I have X is equal to 4.31. I don't have any units, so I don't need to worry about that too much. Okay, so those are the 4 steps. Label and identify, write the equation, rearrange, and then solve. Those are the